Welcome to the Miami International Autodrome, home of the Miami Grand Prix. This exciting track circumnavigates the Hard Rock Stadium, home to the National Football League outfit, the Miami Dolphins. Sitting at the southeastern coast of Florida, the Miami International Autodrome has 19 corners and 3.36 miles of racing. It's a circuit designed to encourage close racing while meeting the highest safety standards. Either way, I'm sure it's one that will please the fans.
So Rick there, of course, on pole for the start of this Miami Grand Prix here with APPF1 Tier 1 drivers here. We got SW, of course, starting second on the grid. Ghost will start third. Orange starting fourth. We got Mohiti starting fifth. Vibes, of course, will start in sixth. Speed Alcoholic starting seventh. Live starting 18th and 9th. We got LB Racing 10th. J-Man there 11th. MX in 12th. Jack 13th. We got Blair in 14th. We do got Tito in 15th. Scapara there 16th. Gilligan 17th. And Braden, because of a disqualification, will have to start 18th on the grid. And that's going to be the starting order. We're going to head straight into the race session now. And of course, again, guys, no formation lap, so we get straight into the start of this Miami Grand Prix. Okay, so here we go, the start of the Miami Grand Prix with APPF1 Tier 1 drivers, and they're off. Let's see, Rick does get a pretty good start and against SW in the Red Bull, and so they're probably going to try it on the inside here. Does he get a better run? No, he does not, as he's now side by side with Mohiki there. Ghost as well trying to get past. Let's see what their order is as they get on through here on this opening lap. So far, so good though. Let's have a look at the position changes as they're going through with that. It looks like Mohiki is already up 3 positions. An excellent start from him there in the Williams as he gets on through with that. Sorry, it's not Red Bull. I thought it was a Williams at the moment there. Oh, he doesn't. Sorry, it's Alpine. My bad on that there. So Rick here still holding on to the lead. I think it was a gap there at the moment. It looks like it's a pretty good gap that he has against the rest of the grid there, though. It's a 1.3 second lead that he currently has. Looks like someone's having some trouble on track there. Mohiti falling down the order in the Alpine. I'm not sure what happened to his car. Might have had some contact with someone. Orange, of course, trying to go side by side with the Haas here. Sorry, with the Ghost there in the McLaren. Gonna have a look on board here, see what's happening. Yeah, so we got the top two still back in the positions right where they started. Rick, of course, did not lose that lead. SW did fall down a bit on the order there. He's gotten it back up into second. Orange against Ghost here for a position as he's up into third. Goes down to fourth. They might try to switch it back. That's just gonna happen because Ghost definitely wants that position back there. Tino's up 4 positions from where he started, as we can see there. Speed Alcoholic trying to go was trying to go side by side with someone. He's now back on to a position by himself here in 6th. Looks like we might have a bit of a closer gap here with Tino's as he tries to get past Ghost there, but of course Ghost a bit busy with a Red Bull in front of him as he's trying to get a bit more focus on that there, and just trying to keep his position there in P4. Wants to get back on the podium place here if he can, and it's not going to be an easy move, as we know this track is very close corners all around. Got to be very careful with these overtakes here as well. Let's just have a look on the overhead cam, see how well this is going. But Ghost here really pushing as much as he can. It's a 210 gap between him and the Red Bull, and he's really trying to get back that podium place, but really it's going to be a difficult one at this point here. He has to be extremely careful at which point the track is he going to try to get that overtake done. It's a 310 gap now. We have some very close gap throughout the field at the moment. I want to switch it down to Ghost's team, Speed Alcoholic here, as he's trying to get past the Aston Martin there of Tino's at the moment. As you can see, that gap extremely close, and they got to be so careful not to invalidate their laps here, because cutting corners will eventually lead to some penalties being handed out on track. I'm quite sure they're not interested in having that happen at this point here, because it's very difficult in terms of keeping positions at the end of the race. We can see a trainer car still going on through the entire grid as it is, separated by just less than a second, most of them at least. Braden down in 90. Let's have a look on board with him. He's trying to keep up with Vibes out in front. Levy racing behind of him though in the next Aston Martin coming through. And he's on some pretty close gaps to work with. Rick out front as you can see in the Mercedes, he's leading this race by a significant gap compared to the rest of the field. It's a 1.5 second gap against Orange in the Haas, who's really trying to keep up and having a difficult time doing that. That clean air in front is definitely helping him though, as he does continue on out in front. Let's see what's going to happen. We're on to lap 3 of 29 here in the Miami Grand Prix. Not a single major incident has happened so far. Maybe some minor incident. There goes Braden against Vibes up into 8, as Vibes is now down to 9. Might try to get that position back, but not going to be so easy, as he's lost a bit of time right now, down by at least about 4 tenths at the moment. Has to be worried about the car behind as well, as LB Racing really trying to catch up. He's closing back the gap, but of course Braden there trying to catch up to the Alpine in front of him. That's Mohiti there, who gained quite a significant advantage on the start of this race, was up to second. But I'm not sure what happened. He fell down the order quite a bit, as he's now down into 8 and trying to fight his way back up here. The Alpine really trying to hold off that opposition. Braden though up into 7. Vibes now going to try to catch up to him. Let's see what's going to happen in that situation, as Vibes has a pretty close gap behind the Alpine coming through, because he was chasing after Braden there. And I think, oh, there we go. So right up to the rear of the Alpine now. Let's see what advantage he's going to have down the back straight here, as it's pretty advantageous in terms of the slipstream advantage here. But let's see how that works for him. Of course, DRS is now online, so that's going to help a lot of drivers in this race, as they're within a second of the cars in front of them. We got Speed Alcoholic getting ahead of Tino's there. He's up into 5th, so that's both McLarens running 4th and 5th now. Let's see what the team advantage is going to be with that there, as they really try to push those cars further up the grid and possibly get both cars on the podium. Possibly here, Orange out from front, getting the fastest lap there, as getting to lap 4, which means Rick is now coming under pressure. He's lost his big lead that he currently had by at least half a second or so. He's now 1.1 second in front of Orange in the Haas, and that's going to be Orange really trying to push for some sort of advantage here in terms of catching up. He's having a bit of a difficult time with it though. He's going and coming from that 1 second gap. He needs to keep that car within the DRS range to have the advantage against the Mercedes, and let's see if he's going to be able to do it though. Ghost up front here. Let's have a look what's happening with Ghost in the moment. He's chasing after this Red Bull for quite some time now in this race, for the past 4 laps I would say, as he's having some difficulty really trying to get a gap to get by. He's down to 2 tenths. Is he going to move for the move on the outside here? He's trying to push for it, and a bit blocked off by the Red Bull. Almost has contact with the rear of it, but he keeps it going, keeps out of any point of having damage here, but he still has a pretty close gap, still back into 2 tenths, and he's going to try to keep that going all the way as he go back to the has a bit of a drift there, getting around that corner, but holds it on through. His teammate behind of him possibly can help him out in terms of keeping the cars behind if he can here. Which is the faster McLaren at this point here between Speed Alcoholic and Ghost? Well, who's going to be the best one to go after the Red Bull in front? Because if Ghost is not getting it done, I think his teammate is going to have a shot at it, but he's going on the outside around, and his teammate trying to follow him on through. The Red Bull blocking that position off, really trying to keep position in this race. It's still side by side with the two of them as they get across the line to go into the next lap here, and that Red Bull is not giving up the position, holds on to P3. It's only a tenth between them, possibly less than a tenth as they're going through with this lap now, and a tenth of course with his the next McLaren Speed Alcoholic down behind. Of course, he might have to be a bit worried though, because Tino's is only about 5 tenths behind them. Braden coming another 10th behind that, so it's getting a bit interesting out in front here. I think down in the back of the grid some close gaps, as well as Vibes trying to catch up with the Alpina Mohiti there for P8 at the moment here. The Red Bull goes a bit wide here, might have had a bit of a mistake. The McLaren is definitely going to try to take the advantage out of this here, trying to pull through and close the gap between the two of them as he does. Might try it on the inside here. Which move he's going to go for? He's trying on the inside. Does he give it to, well, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get this done, but he is a bit ahead of the Red Bull. Looks like he gets the position done though. They're both McLarens ahead of the Red Bull now. I think he's still fighting with a Speed Alcoholic though, trying to hold it off through, but I think he's gotten through, but he's lost it back again. But of course Ghost did get ahead. He's up into 3rd, finally ahead by after chasing for the past 4 laps here. So it has been an interesting battle going on so far. So the Red Bull of SW is down to 4. Speed Alcoholic, of course, now going to chase after the Red Bull if he can get by. Let's see how that's going to work for him. Now let's follow on down the back of the grid, see what's happening here with Jack at the moment, as a pretty close gap with the 2 cars in front of him. That's Hiti and Life there, as Life gets ahead, and looks like Jack is going to get ahead of the Alpine here as well. He loses 2 positions in one go. We got a yellow flag there in sector 3. Something's happened to somebody's car. Got a spin around with one of the Aston Martins, I believe there. I think that was Tino's. They're having a bit of a spin as he tries to get back going. He is back going again. Hopefully he's able to keep it that way there. As we're on with Jack right now. in the next Mercedes here. His teammate leading this race out front, now coming under pressure though from Orange with the Haas behind of him. It's a 7/10 gap with the two of them, now down to 6/10. Let's have a quick look out front, see what's happening with the race lead at the moment here. Rick desperately trying to hold on to it, but is starting to go away from him here as Orange is starting to catch up. Naturally, he's using all the DRS advantage he has along with some of the ERS and really trying to push this car as much as he can. They're trying to keep up, and so far so good, because it seems to be the gaps really seems to be closing in. As we get on going on a lap 6 here. But so far so good from the start of the race to this point. We started 18 drivers. We still got all 18 drivers in this race and going here and out in front. That gap is starting to close a bit. Let's go back to Speed Alcoholic though, as he tries to close the gap on the Red Bull of SW here on the outside, going around that back straight there, and he's going to try to go around. Does he get the move done though? He looks like he gets it done. He follows on behind his teammate Ghost now, and yeah, they're desperately trying to get both McLarens on the podium here from what we can see happening. And so far so good. Not a bad move from the two McLarens. So the Red Bull of SW under serious pressure in this race though. Braden is now catching up to him there, as Braden is now 6/10 behind, now 3/10 behind as he closes that gap. It's only a 10th between the two of them right now, as the Williams is trying to get ahead. He might have the advantage, but the being a bit blocked off from the Red Bull in terms of trying to find a gap to go here. Gaps, of course, very, very narrow with the way the track is, so they have to be extremely careful about this in terms of overtake, as we mentioned earlier. LB Racing here chasing after Vibes. This is for P7. Has a bit of a gap to the car behind. That's Jack there fighting it off with Life and Mahiti at the moment, so I don't think he's too worried about that. Out in front, Rick still keeping a 6/10 advantage, now 4/10 advantage against Orange there, but of course Orange in that DRS range now, so he has that advantage, plus using his ERS. Rick only left to defend with his ERS on that car right now. No DRS advantage for him, as he is the one, of course, leading the race here at the moment. We got LP here really trying to keep ahead of Vibes at the moment. It's a 2:10 gap. Can he hold off the position for much longer? Once again, out in front, looks like Rick might be losing a bit of that gap there. Let's keep this going as it is there right now. So LB Racing is only a 10th between him and Vibes at the moment. He's still keeping the gap good as at this point here, but Vibes of course up to 7, they'll be down to 8. Let's see how much more they're going to keep that going. Let's see what's happening on the back here with J-Man and Blair at the moment. The two of them might have had some contact, I'm not entirely sure. It did seem like we have some minor contact happening there, but they're still going. It's a 14 gap between the two of them. So as the grid order is at the moment, we got Rick leading this race, Orange chasing after him for that lead in second. Got Gilligan just got a 3-second penalty, of course Mahiti with a penalty there as well. Ghost and Speed Alcoholic, that's the two McLarens running 3rd and 4th in this race, both looking to get onto a podium position. Ghost already on it. I think he's trying to have his team follow him on through, and it's a change for the lead out front. What's happened with Rick's car? Somehow Orange has gotten past him, so it's a battle for the lead right now to get it back against the Haas. Can he get that position back here? He might have made some sort of mistake, as the gap was close off to a second, as when we last checked a few seconds ago between these two here. But Orange has somewhat found a way to get past the Mercedes. He's up into the lead of this race, and I think he's going to want to try to keep that. It's only a 10th the advantage is right now, so of course the Mercedes chasing after him here, and let's see if he's going to be able to take it on the inside. He does push the move on the inside. Looks like Rick might have just gotten that position back there though. And looks like, yep, he did get it back. Let's have a look on board with the Haas, and let's switch on back to the Mercedes actually. So there goes Rick. He's back into the lead, fortunately, and unfortunately for Orange, he's down back into second. Still not a bad position to finish his race in, but I think he's looking to get up into the lead and possibly take a race win here for the Miami Grand Prix. Going to be a bit of a prestigious race to take a race win at as well. Ghost and Speed Alcoholic still added there. It's a 3-10 gap between the teammates. Of course, Braden up into 5th right now. The Red Bull of SW down to 6th. Not having the best of time here, but he's lost a few positions so far in the start of this race. It's a 2-10 gap between the McLaren and the Williams right now. So let's see if SW now gets a 3-second penalty, coming under pressure in this race from the start to this point on lap 9 here at the moment as well. Orange out in front, looks like he gets back the lead again. We keep missing when these two switch for the lead here. And we can see the Mercedes, of course, right up to the rear of that Haas. He is going to try to get it back at some point here. Possibly coming on that back straight again. Let's see if the switching advantage is going to help Rick get back into the lead here. So we're looking at a pretty good battle that has been going on from the start to this point between these two. Ghost still about 3 seconds away from them in terms of trying to get himself into that battle for the lead. But let's see if he can actually break the gap down or not. And there goes the Mercedes on the inside of the Haas once again. And looks like that move will work once more to get him back up into the league. The Haas, of course, not going to fight it as much. He knows he can't really do anything much at this point. He's going to let him take it back, at least for now. Trying maybe with a pit stop advantage in terms of trying to get away with that lead against the Mercedes. We'll see what's going to happen, though, as we get on through this race. So Ghost and Speed Alcoholic, third and fourth so far. Got Braden 3/10 behind them in the Williams trying to chase after them. The Red Bull of SW with a 3-second penalty. 1.8 seconds down from Braden now. He's lost a bit of time. So let's see how much more he can keep this going for. We got Vibes here in 7th at the moment. He has a bit of a gap both in front and behind him. More to catch up so to the Red Bull out in front. So not the best of time for him, but still a pretty good position he's held on to so far. Life here in P8, being chased, of course, by Mahiti there in the Alpine, who's being chased by Jack in the next Mercedes down behind. So a bit of a three-way battle going on for P8 here. So far so good between the three of them. Either way, let's see if this is going to be going anywhere as we're on lap 10 of 29 here for the Miami Grand Prix, which has been quite an exciting race so far, I gotta say, everyone, because we started 18 drivers but still got 18 full drivers on the grid. But a track like the Miami International Circuit, you would expect we would have lost at least a quarter of the grid by now, but hasn't been the case here with the T1 drivers on APPF1 Racing. They've done a pretty good job in terms of preparing for this race session. Qualifying, of course, was quite exciting to watch. And yeah, the race has gone pretty well so far. We've got a pretty good battle on our hands all the way up and down the field at the moment. The Mercedes of Jack here pushing as much as he can, trying to get past that Alpine. He's pushing for a move on the inside, side by side with him. Will he be able to get the move done as they come around the turn there? And a pretty good position where overtakes happen a lot on track here as he's now ahead of the Alpine, trying to keep the position. For how long can he hold on to it? Muhiti trying to push back here around the outside and is trying to go side by side once again with that Mercedes, but looks like he's gonna have to just yield the position for now and just let it be. And trying to just keep the gap as close as it is. LB Racing really trying to catch up to these two, but not the best of luck here in terms of catching up so far. Out in front, Rick still has the lead. Orange in second and is going to keep that way. Ghost and Speed Alcoholic third and fourth. Braden running fifth still. SW still running in sixth there, as not a switch between the race lead out in front. And that, of course, was the Mercedes trying to break in time to not put the score into the back of that Haas. Did a pretty good job of it. So Rick now back down into second. What's happened with Ghost here? Something's happened with Ghost's car. I think he had a spin. I don't think he was close enough to have an incident with the team, but he did have a spin here. Unfortunate for Ghost, was running third in this race, and he's now down to sixth. His teammate now up into third. He has to now fight his way back up the order, back up with Orange here, as he's trying once again on the outside of that Mercedes to get it wrong and hopefully get a position done. But on the inside seems to be a better run. Switches back around on the inside of the next turn though, and looks like he might have gotten the move done. He's up into the lead once again by a 5/10 advantage. Can he keep this going and extend that lead, which is what he needs to do at this point here? We will be approaching the halfway point in this race pretty soon. So just after that, I think we'll start to see some pit stops, possibly with most of the drivers, I think, being on the on the medium tires there at the moment. So we had a half of the grid. I didn't even have a look on what tires they started on. So most of them start on the hards, a few on the mediums, of course, running a longer stint here, and then going on the softs, I guess, or maybe they'll switch it up. Those on the hards will go to the mediums to go on to the end of the race. We'll see what the strategy is going to be. So far, Braden gained the most positions in this race, 15 positions up from when he started running in P3. J-Man a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Not a good advantage there in this race session. Once again, these two have switched for the lead out in front. That's Rick back into the lead. Orange back down to second. I think we've lost count of how many times these two have switched the lead, but they've kept it going and they've kept an advantage against the car there. Whoever is running in third at any point in the race session is now Braden, of course. 2.1 seconds is what our gap is. It was Ghost before he had a bit of a spin there, and he's now down into 7. Let's get this down further down at the back here. LB Racing chasing after Mahiti and Jackie, of course, still for P8 at the moment, and a pretty close gap between these guys as we have it here. Let's switch on with Mahiti at the moment and have a look behind as the Aston Martin is after him. Gap is closing and will continue to do so as we get further on into this race here. Live here running 3:10s, now 2:10s behind the Aston Martin of Tino's. And I think he's going to try for a move on the inside. There goes the Ferrari. Can he get a move done? He gets it done before they even get to the corner. So he's back on the racing line and he's going to hold off to P11. Got SW into the pits right now. The Red Bull is in the pits and having a change of tires. They're possibly going into the hards maybe to go to the end of this race. So I'm assuming is what he's possibly doing. Let's have a look quickly at what the Red Bull is coming out with. I think he is on the hards. Started on those mediums, so he's not running on that. Going to finish the race on that set of tires there. Got Blair and Tito here. A bit of a gap between the two of them, so really not too far off though. Scaparo there, 2.6 second gap to catch up to Tito out in front of him. Gilligan here, 3.9 seconds to catch up to Scaparo in front of him. MX, of course, 3.8 seconds behind that. J-Man quite a bit behind as he took on the stop there. So he needs to catch up just a bit more here to get some sort of advantage in this race. So he's currently 18th and running. Got Rick and Orange still out in front, P1, P2, respectively at the moment. So let's see what closer gaps we have here. So Rick still leads, Orange second, Braden 1.8 seconds behind him. That gap to catch up to the top two is now breaking down just a bit here. But let's see how much further he can go down as we get further into this race. We're going to go down to the midfield here, see what's happening with these three still fighting off for P7. Of course, that's Jack, Mahiti, and LB racing there, fighting for that position. Mahiti, of course, having that penalty, which is definitely going to affect his race position at the end of this race. Is a 2:10 gap for him catching up to Jack, though, in front. So can he get the move done? It's seeming to be a bit of a difficult task for him at the moment here, but so far so good in this race session. J-Man out of this race session. I think he has retired in the pits. Probably because of the gap that he had there, not sure, but he is out of the race. That does leave us with 17 drivers now in the race session. The Alpine, as you can see, they're catching up to the Mercedes. That's the Alpine of Mahiti. They're catching up to Jack in front. It's just under 2:10s where the gap is right now with the two of them, as the advantage is now coming become less and less as that Alpine was looking for a side-by-side move here. Didn't get to get it done, but he's still pushing on through. It's currently P8 for Mahiti, P7 for Jack and the Mercedes at the moment. We got the McLaren of Ghost in front of them and they're catching up to him, so he's now involved in this as well. This is going to put a 4-car battle here for P6 now. Still keeping it on to Mahiti at the moment, and Jack. Mahiti and Jack, I think the closest gap that we have there. The Aston Martin, of course, keeping a bit behind, but he's having a look and see what's happening. There goes the Alpine trying to look on the inside, not able to pull and move over as yet. He still needs to close that gap just a bit more to get the advantage in terms of getting that overtake done. But Rick out in front, amazing race from him and Orange so far. Gotta say, quite impressive with these two as they've kept themselves P1 and P2 switching it back and forth in this race as we've going so far. Speed Alcoholic having a pretty good race in P4. His teammate was running in P3, fell along the order just a bit. Braden got an advantage, went up to P3 here as he's working his way through the field, as he did have a disqualification in qualifying when he was, I think, second or third just before the session went off for an incident to happen on track there, but he's worked his way up the field pretty good, looking at possibly getting driver of the day here in this race session. But let's see what's going to happen at the rest of the race. Muhiti being chased by LB Racing, pretty close gap as he chases after Ghost now, so Ghost is now under a lot of pressure. It's a 210 gap. There goes LB Racing. The Aston Martin though, he gets ahead of the Alpine. It's a bit of a switch by switch happening out in front. Let's see what happened. They're back onto the racing line, so looks like the Aston Martin holds on to P7. Muhiti in the Alpine down to 8. SW in the Red Bull, he's trying to catch up to these guys. He's 3.7 seconds behind, so he still has a bit of time to catch up there. Out in front, let's switch it back. We might have another switch on our hands here as a Haas gets up by just under 210s. Rick there for the lead of this race as he's pushing on the inside. The Mercedes goes into the pits right now, I think he does, and there goes Orange up into the lead. Let's see if this is going to be an advantage or disadvantage with a pit stop here right now, because both of them, as far as we know, were running on those medium tires there. So Orange now takes over the lead as our race leader Rick is now into the pits. Let's see what the strategy play is for him. I think he definitely is coming out on a set of hard tires there to finish off the race. Is he, or what happened to his tires? I'm not sure. Yep, he did. He's going on to a set of hards to finish off this race. Let's see if Orange is going to take a pit stop on this current lap. He's lost the lead though. What's happening up front? Because Brady is now up into the lead. The Williams driver, who was disqualified from a qualifying session and started at the back of the grid in 18, is now back up into the lead as he's now losing that lead once again. There goes Orange trying around the outside of the Williams, and he does get it back. So he's fought quite well even on these old tires. He's pushing so hard in that Haas, and he definitely is gonna hopefully be rewarded for it at the end of the session here. Orange back into the lead of this race. Might have cost him a bit though, because he's really trying to fight against Rick here for that lead, and he needs to try and see what he's gonna do to counter that pit stop that the Mercedes just took. Got Braden with a 310 gap here, so really trying to see where the advantage is going to be. Is Orange going to come into the pit? Let's go on board with him. He is going to go into the pit lane. He's responding to what Mercedes just did there with their pit stop. A bit of a strange entry into this pit lane, isn't it now? I don't think I've ever been in the pit lane in the game before, but yeah, quite strange. There goes Orange into the pits. Braden is into the pits as well. He's following the Haas into the pit lane. And I think Speed Alcoholic now takes over the lead of the Grand Prix. So we got a McLaren now leading this race. The rest of the drivers decide to take a pit stop. Rick now goes up into second. Of course, Speed Alcoholic still has to take a stop here. Rick has already taken his stop. Let's see who's coming out back. Out in front is so close between him and Orange. It's a 4:10 gap as Orange comes out behind of Rick. So Rick keeps his position, and of course that's going to be back into the lead once Speed Alcoholic takes his pit stop. Looks like Life takes fastest lap there in the race so far. Of course, these guys still on a bit of cold tires here as they try to get these up to temperature now. So definitely an interesting race we've had so far. Rick, of course, he definitely, as we said, he's going to get back the lead of the race once Speed Alcoholic takes his pit stop. We got Orange chasing after him still here, and the gap is now 1.5 seconds though. What's happened? I think Orange is getting out of the pits on cold tires, and Rick, of course, already one lap done on his setup. Oh, there we go. A bit of a mishap with the Haas there of Orange. He still keeps his position though. So lucky on his end, because Braden is now only a 10th behind him though. He's going to have a bit of a disadvantage here. The Williams trying to get it around on side by side here, getting ahead, and he might just get this done. So we got Orange now has some work to do here. He needs to try and get past that Williams again. He did it once before. Let's see if he can do it again. We got Speed Alcoholic now going into the pit lane. That puts, of course, Rick back into the lead of this Miami Grand Prix. We got Braden now up into second. He's 1.9 seconds. Get that, 1.9 seconds behind the Mercedes now. He needs to break that gap down as fast as he can here, because we're going to start around the laps pretty soon. We're already on lap 18 of 29. This is about 12 laps or so remaining in this Grand Prix. Orange, of course, chasing after Braden there in the Williams. He's definitely trying to get back himself up into second to fight it back with Rick for that race win. Who's going to get it? We're not sure as yet, but it's going to be an interesting finish to this race with no penalties so far in the top 4. LB Racing running in P4. It's a 2.6 second gap for him to catch up to Orange there, of course. Mohiti and SW, both of these drivers with penalties, running 5th and 6th there at the moment. Looks like MX had gotten disconnected from the session. I think he's back on though. Vibes currently running 7. Speed Alcoholic running 8. Ghost currently running 9th. So Speed Alcoholic and Ghost both take pit stops already. They're now running 8th and 9th in this session here. Not the best of sessions for them, but I think a few drivers in front of them do have to take pit stops here. Let's have a quick look at that there. Who has to take a pit stop still? Looks like LB Racing hasn't taken a stop. I don't think Mahiti has taken a stop there as well. So that's 2 drivers in front of them have to take a stop. That's going to put them into 6th and 7th, of course, only. What's the advantage going to be with that? We're going to have a look and we get around to it. Let's have a look at penalties for just a second here. It's an 8-second penalty for Gilligan. Unfortunate for that. 3 seconds just for Mahiti and SW there. Rick, of course, fastest lap again here in the session. As it's still a 2-second gap, or 1.9 second gap between him and Braden here for that race lead. We're on to Orange here at the moment in a P3 as he chases after the Williams. He's really trying to make up for that mistake that cost him second place. He is going to be a bit upset about that, I'm quite sure, because it was a simple mistake, but it did cost him a position as that Williams was running so close behind of him. But with cold tires, just think was what caused it. LB Racing really trying to catch up to these two. Let's see if that's going to be anything happening or not. Let's have a look at Ghost here. Live here got fastest lap previously, but that Ferrari is between the 2 McLarens at the moment here. There goes the McLaren of Ghost into the barriers there, losing the entire front wing. He's trying to get on back onto the track here right now. He's going to have to take another pit stop. That's going to cost him a lot of time and a lot of positions there on track. Let's have a look at SW trying to fight it off with the Aston Martin in front of him, and of course trying to get into P4. Even with the penalties, pushing as much as they can here, really trying to keep it out front. But so far, so good for him. It's only a 10th between the two of them as the Red Bull tries to go side by side with the Aston Martin right now. We got the Alpine coming behind. The Red Bull gets back on the racing line. He's taking the position where he's up into P4. SW has done some pretty impressive battles in this race so far as well. He's lost quite a few positions before, but he's finding his way back up the grid order right now. He's up to 4th. They're going to chase after Orange. It's a 6.8 second gap. Let's see what he can do. It's 7/10 between Orange and Braden. And this battle is still ongoing, of course, following Orange's mistake earlier on. Did not get a spin, but just lost the car for a little bit of a drift that he had on track. And I think it's cost him quite a bit here in terms of losing 1 position down the order. He's still on a podium position here on lap 20 of 29 for the Miami Grand Prix, but I don't think he's too happy with it. He was closer off fighting for the lead with Rick for the first half of the race. Second half of the race, he's trying to fight himself back up into second and not having the best of luck with it. Braden there giving him a bit of a difficult time. He's trying to really break that gap down. Let's see if he's going to be able to pull this off as we get further into this race. And yeah, we're definitely looking at some interesting battles down the order there, as well as some bit of gap starting to form between most of the drivers though. As we have it, we're still looking, might have a few drivers take another pit stop here. We haven't had a single safety car, a single VSC in this race session so far. We lost 1 driver, however, I think the driver has chosen to just retire from the race though. Either way, guys, has been quite an interesting race session from the start to this point. Gap out front though between Rick and Braden is now down to 1.3 seconds. So it looks like Braden has gained about 7/10 so now I can see so far. Mahiti with another penalty there, 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane is going to definitely cost him in this race. That's probably about 8 seconds of penalties is what he's up to right now. So yeah, not doing so well in terms of the penalty situation. Let's have a look at Ghost on the back here in P12 at the moment, chasing after LB Racing in the Aston Martin. Has a bit of a better exit of that turn. So let's use, oh, there goes the Aston Martin into the pit lane though. So he's going to have a free position up here into 11th and now chases after Tino. So let's see how that works for him. And he's still running on track without a front wing, apparently. Looks like after that incident, Ghost did not take a pit stop. He's still running on track without a front wing. We're back onto Orange right now with a 5-10 gap towards Braden here. Let's just switch around the field just a bit. Have a look at Tito right now. Tito in the Alpine here, chasing after Blair. In front of him as Blair goes, was not Blair going? Yeah, Blair did go off track in the Ferrari there. So he's lost a bit of time, a bit of a mistake from him. Tito is going to try to take advantage of that mistake and hopefully close the gap towards that Ferrari in front. Maybe get an overtake here if he can. It's a 1.1 second gap though. Needs to close that under a second to have the DRS advantage if he can. And that definitely will help him, of course, in terms of position-wise in this race. We are, of course, keeping an eye out in front. Braden, of course, gained another 2/10 advantage of the Mercedes of Rick there for that lead. He's slowly gaining time, breaking the gap down, about to get it under a second there. So he's going to have the DRS advantage, and that definitely should help him break the gap down much quicker. But he's running out of laps now. We got 7.5 laps remaining in this Grand Prix as we're on lap 22 of 29. So we're coming down to it pretty quickly here. Gap is now under a second as far as we can see out in front there. So I'm going to switch it back to it just a bit. Have a look and see what's happening. So gap between Orange and Braden still under a second. Gap between Rick and Braden now under a second. So it's a 3-car battle for the lead of this race now, as you can put it. Let's see, Orange stands a pretty good chance here. Let's see how much of a chance he's going to have as he follows that Williams though to try and get up into the lead. He might be hoping for a double overtake here at some point if these two make a mistake, or if they get entangled with each other. They're fighting it out for the lead here. He's going to try to take it away. Let's see what's going to happen. It's going to be quite an interesting finish for this race. Looks like Buhiti there. It's only a 10th behind Jack in the Mercedes as he now gets ahead. He's up into 8th. Jack down to 9th. Unfortunate for that. Unfortunate, of course, for the Alpine. The Williams closing the gap right now on Rick. Those tires, I'm not sure what's happening with Rick there, but he's pushing as much as he can on that car. Might be out of the ERS advantage here. We're not sure. We're not going to bring that up to see what's happening. But let's keep it as it is there right now. It's lap 23 or 29 for the Miami Grand Prix. Rick in the Mercedes leads. Braden in the Williams in second. Orange there in the Haas in third. SW in the Red Bull running fourth. Vibes running fifth. Of course, Speed Alcoholic running sixth. Life in 7. Mahiti in 8. Jack 9. Tino's 10. Coast 11. Blair in 12. We got Tito 13. Scaparo 14. LB Racing 15. MX in 16. Gilligan in 17. J-Man out of this race session. We're keeping an eye out in front where our main battle is happening for the race win here. Who's going to take it? It's Rick, Braden, and Orange respectively as a top three. It's only half a second between each of them as they still go on through this race lap by lap here. And SW has about a 10-second gap to catch up to. So, of course, he's not getting anywhere anytime soon on this. These three make a significant mistake at this point here. The Mercedes are under severe pressure right now. Rick is pushing as much as he can. But for how much longer can he hold on to that lead there? He's having some serious pressure coming from the cars behind there. Orange under a lot of pressure here right about now. He's really trying to get ahead. He was in second, made a bit of mistakes a few laps ago. Lost that second position to Braden. And Braden, of course, trying to fight it on through. Braden, of course, was second in qualifying to start this race and had a bit of a disqualification because of an incident that happened on track. We had that on record there. And then was disqualified from the qualifying session with being parked on dangerous location on track. Had to start at the back of the grid. He's fought his way out in front of second. Can he take the race win here at Miami? It might be an interesting session if he does, but still finishing second, starting from 18th, will be quite an achievement for him, especially at such a track. Right there, though, I think will be much more happy if he does get his race win here. Because it's right where he started there in P1. He qualified fastest there in qualifying, so I'm quite sure he's looking for a race win. Orange, of course, started second there. He definitely wants to get back into that position, at least to finish, if not for a race win here. So we're going to keep an eye on the top three, I guess, for the next few laps here. Keep an eye on the midfield as well, see what's happening. Live there chasing after Jack in the next Mercedes, of course, for P8. It's an 8-10 gap. We have to keep an eye on those to see how that's going to go. The gap extending just a bit now. As you can see, the Williams here is really trying to close the gap on the Mercedes, having a very difficult time doing that. I think the Haas of Orange is really just trying to keep up with the Williams right now and try to follow him on through. If he does get an overtake done, he's going to possibly try to have it be a double overtake against that Mercedes. LB Racing right now gets the fastest lap here in the session. Have a look on board with Braden here at the moment. You can see the Haas coming in a distance behind, but he's so close to that Mercedes right now, almost touching the rear wheels there. as you know, get it wrong and get into lap 25. It looks like he's close enough to get a move done here. Can he get it done into turn 1? He's going to go side by side on the outside of the Mercedes. I'm really trying to push for an overtake and not able to get it done. Might try it on the inside of the next turn though. Let's see how well that goes. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. It's so close between the two. They're almost having contact. We have Orange coming so close behind as well. It's now side by side once again on the outside. The Mercedes takes it back though and really not giving up that lead. He's going to push all the way to the end of this race. Still has quite a few more laps to go before we finish the Grand Prix though, so Rick definitely has a lot of work to do here. We got a yellow flag there in sector 1. Looks like one of the Ferraris, I think, or the either that or one of the Alfa Romeos might be spun wrong on track there, but someone definitely had a bit of an issue. Still got this Williams chasing after the Mercedes. He's going to try for another move again as he moves towards the inside. Can he get that move done? He's still side by side with Rick here. Rick, of course, trying to push it back on through. The Mercedes now falling behind. We got Braden getting ahead. He's up into the lead. He's finally gotten the lead away from the Mercedes, and that's taking quite a number of laps to do. Can he hold it on for another 4.5 laps? Is the question here right now. Orange has gotten ahead as well. He's followed Braden through, which is what he was hoping for. He's now back up into second. Rick has lost the lead and lost second place as well. He is down to third. What's going to happen at this point here? And looks like the Mercedes is missing a front wing. So something did happen at some point here to cause that to happen as they were battling on through. So the Mercedes loses the front wing. That's going to be a big disadvantage to Rick now, as he's now 1.5 seconds behind Orange. Braden, of course, started 18th all the way up into the lead of the Grand Prix. Orange there running second. Rick losing his advantage here by the second as we go around here on lap 26. Is he going to finish the race? As it is, there's a 10-second gap to the car behind. So can he hold off and finish in P3? Or is he going to try and take a stop here? Highly doubt we're going to have a safety car at this point in the race. We haven't had one for the past 26 laps. I highly doubt it's going to start now. There's a 9-10 gap between Braden and Orange. It's now free air for Braden out in front as he continues to lead this race. Orange, of course, still going to push on through as much as he can, really trying to get the advantage of getting against him for the lead. Doesn't look like it might happen there though. And we can see a 4-10 gap though with Speed Alcoholic here against a Red Bull of SW. So this McLaren really pushing through another position here if he can get it, trying around the outside. Not able to get that position up there as yet. He's still pushing on through for this. As you can see now, a 2 to 3-10 gap is what's between the Red Bull and McLaren. And there goes Speed Alcoholic on the inside. Does he get it moved on? He's ahead of the Red Bull right about now. It looks like he might have just gotten it done. He's back on the racing line. He's up into P4. The Red Bull down to 5th. Not a good time to have this happening as well. On lap 27 of 29. And getting on through the Red Bull, trying around the outside, trying back on the inside. He switches around for the move. Not able to get the overtake done though. Speed Alcoholic, of course, going to give him a difficult time on this here. Out in front, we still got Braden in the Williams leading the Grand Prix right now. Orange, of course, still running second by just under a second. It's 9/10 is what the gap is. Rick there running in third. Still, he's losing time to Speed Alcoholic now, who's now 7.6 seconds behind of him. Even though he's battling with SW, that gap is going to start to fall. Can he hold on for another 2.5 laps that we have remaining in this race? I think he might just be able to and still finish with his car on the podium here. SW, of course, having a penalty, so I think the worst he's going to get is down to 4th, even if Speed Alcoholic gets past him here. Got a bit of a gap forming with the rest of the drivers down the grid there, down the field. But still, has been so exciting watching these guys out in front here battle for the lead here. And of course, still some of the drivers down in the midfield. We have quite a few interesting battles to watch here as well as they fought their way through. And yeah, but it's been really interesting so far. So on lap 27 of 29, Banter Braden leading the Miami Grand Prix. Orange running second, Rick running in third. He's trying to hold off to that position to go to the end of this race. Speed Alcoholic holding on to 4th against the Red Bull of SW right now, who's really trying to push for get back in that position because he knows he has a penalty here. Either way, he's going to be finishing in P5. I assume, depending on how much of a penalty he does have, they will bring that up, I think, right about now. Let's have a look at penalties. As it is, it's a 6-second penalty, so he will be able to actually still keep it here. As we come to the ending portion of this race, guys, we can see gaps out in front, still extremely close between Banter Braden and Orange here for the lead of the Grand Prix. It's a 5-10 gap as these two still go behind each other, just trying to fight for that lead. Braden, of course, has done an incredible job. He's kept this lead going for quite a bit now against Orange. Took him a while to get past Rick though, but he finally got that done as Rick had a bit of an issue there and lost his front wing. I think it's what gave him that advantage as well. But either way, this is racing and issues do come about and things do happen. Unfortunately for Rick, but he's still possibly going to be able to finish this race in P3 if he's able to hold on for another lap and a half that we have remaining here, because Speed Alcoholic, of course, is catching up. It's a 5-second gap towards the Mercedes in front of him. And we now enter into the final lap here of the Grand Prix. We can see Orange still trying to keep that gap under a second for the DRS advantage even as we go on the final lap here. Still in sector 2, I believe we are going through. We're going to keep the let's keep our camera up on Braden there at the moment. Gets a bit twitchy getting off that turn. He needs to keep this clean all the way through to the final turn, getting across the finish line if he wants to win this race here. Orange is desperately trying for a win here and he's so close to it at this point. It's only a 17 gap between the two of them. That Haas really pushing as much as he can, trying to avoid mistakes which Banter Braden needs to avoid right now. Rick, of course, is now a 2.5-second gap towards Speed Alcoholic behind of him. He's going to need to hold off just a bit more. Jack in the next Mercedes just had a DNF in the session. Not sure what happened, but it's happened somewhere on track there between sectors 1 and 2. As we have the Williams of Braden, started 18th on this grid, is now going to finish in P1 as he gets across the line here to take a win. Does he take the win? No, he does not. He lets Orange goes by. What happened to Braden? I'm not sure. But down on the just before the finish line, Braden's car went ghosted and Orange went past him and took the race win here. That's not probably going to have to be sorted by the studio, but I'm going to work with what we have on screen. So Orange here is our race winner for the Miami Grand Prix. Braden finishing second on the podium. Rick finishing third on the podium. Finally gets that in. Speed Alcoholic, of course, takes fourth on the grid. SW in the Red Bull taking fifth. Got a bit of an incident happening just across the finish line there, I assume. We got Vibes there in 6. We got Life is coming across the line to take 7. Got Mohiti taking 8. Blair another few seconds behind this. He's going to come across the line, of course, to take P9. Looks like, let's have a look. Let's make sure they get across. Looks like Gilligan already got across, taking 17th. Jack DNF the session 16th. J-Man taking 18th. There goes Blair taking 9th on the grid. Ghost, of course, coming around without a front wing right about now. He's going to finish across in 10th. Tito behind of him gets across for P11. LB Racing coming around to take P12 here. As he does have a 10th with behind with MX. Of course, these two fighting still as a bit of an incident happening there now. And that is LB Racing out of the race before the finish line. And there goes MX finishing in P12 as Tito takes 11. Tino's will get across, I think, for P13 and switch it with Scapardo for P13. Castinos has an 8-second penalty there. So a bit of a switch in the order before we get to the finish line with a few drivers. But I think that's going to be it. Let's have one final look at our preliminary results before we close off this session here, guys. And of course, that issue with P1, P2, I guess will be sorted with the stewards. I'm not sure what happened, but yeah. Braden, of course, getting driver of the day. Was supposed to get across the line P1, but his car got ghosted just before he crossed the finish line, causing the McLaren to get by him. Well, the Haas to get by him. So the Haas driver took a win. I guess they'll probably keep that. I'm not sure what happened. Alright, so let's have one last look at our preliminary result before we close this off. Okay, so there we have it. So Orange in the house takes a win here for the Miami Grand Prix here with APPF1 Racing Tier 1. We got Brayden there finishing second on the podium, Rick taking third on the podium in the Mercedes. We got Speed Alcoholic, of course, finishing fourth, SW with fifth, Vimes in sixth, Life 7, Mahiti there in eighth, Blair taking ninth. We got 10 for Ghost, 11 for Tito, and we got 12 with MX, 13 Scaparo, 14 for Tinos, 15 for LB Racing, 16 Jack, I didn't get to finish the race, Gilligan 17, J-Man, of course, didn't get to finish as well, P 18th. Looks like LB Racing had the fastest lap before we finished the session as well. But either way, that's going to be the end of the session here, guys. So thanks to everyone who joined us here live on this stream, guys. Please, guys, make sure you do give us a follow here on Twitch. I do appreciate you guys doing that and supporting here on Twitch as well. You do on YouTube as well. So yeah, hopefully everyone enjoyed the race session and the commentary that came with it. Leave anything in chat that you guys like, and yeah, that was actually quite an enjoyable race session, qualifying as well. We're gonna have this video up on YouTube as well in just a bit, so do look forward to that. Just maybe an hour or two probably be up there. But yeah, again, guys, thank you guys for joining on the session. Please, guys, do give us a follow here on Twitch. I'll see you guys on the next race session, which I probably have right here on Twitch as well.